The next feature that we are going to add is update and delete. So let's get back to the backend and let's implement that. So this one is for the listing of all posts, and this one is for update. So here we're going to use app.put method for updating document, and we're going to provide the API version 1 and then the post and / the post ID, which means that we will find the post by ID to update. So let's provide the async and rec and response, and here we go. Let's bring in try and catch. So here we're going to use what is called find by ID and update. So here I will say const, let me have a comment as get the post ID from params. So here is going to be as const and then the post ID, and we have access as rec.params.post ID. Remember, we used the post ID here, so we have it on the rec.params as post ID. And I will show you how we are going to pass in the post ID. So here we can find the post before we will go ahead and update. So I will say find the post. So here is going to be as const post found is equal to await, then the post model. On that we have what is called find by ID, and we pass in the post ID. Alright, so in case there is no post found, then we will say that, hey guy, the post that you want to update doesn't exist. So here we will say throw new error, and then we will say that post not found. Don't worry, we will get into error handling. For the meantime, let's go ahead and implement the update. So here is going to be as await, then the post. We have a method called find by ID and update, and the first argument is the ID that we want to find, in this case the post ID from the params, and the second argument is going to be the properties that we want to update, and the third argument is going to be some option configurations. So here we want to update the title, so here is going to be rec.body.title. Remember, we have access to the request from the client side on the rec.body, and then we also want to update the description, and the same we have it as rec.body.description as that. And as the third argument, we're going to provide new to true. This one will give us the updated data. So here we will say that post updated, which is equal to that. And let's go ahead and send res.json and provide the status as post updated successfully. And then let's send the post updated. So we are done with the post update. So let's throw some error here as throw new error, and then pass in the error here. So let's try out in the postman. So over here, let's duplicate this and change this one to update, and here is put method, and for update we're going to pass in / the ID of the post. So here let's see, or the post I want to update awesome course, so I'll grab the ID for this post, which is this one, and back here let me save it and provide the ID as that. So this is what we call params, which means that anything that comes after the colon is being regarded as params, as you can see over here. So this is what we call the params, and you can name it whatever you want, either ID or my ID or post ID, and that variable will be available on the rec.params. So if I lock the rec.params. Let's see, back to Postman, and inside here I'm gonna provide the new data. I will say awesome course 2 and some description 2 and send. Now let's see the response, and we got post updated, and now we have awesome course 2 and some description 2. Let's check the terminal of our backend, and we have the rec.params as post ID. So this is how we can implement the updating. So let's get back to the client side and then implement that. But before we get into client side, we are not going to pass the ID like this by copying and paste the ID. We want the user to click on the post that he or she wants to update. And from there, we will render a component for the user to update. So to achieve this, unless we have one more route to fetch a single post. So here is going to be as get post. So here as app.get, and then /API /version1 and post, and here pass in the post ID, and then callback function async and as that, and we have access to the rec and response, and inside let's bring in try and catch. As you can see, these two endpoints are the same, which is this, but they are not. And that is, the first one uses put method and the second one uses get method. So these endpoints are not the same. So over here, to find a single post, we are going to get the ID from the params as we did for the post, which is this. So let me copy this, or let me remove this console log, and let me copy this, and back here place that. So here let's go ahead and then find the post, which is equal to const post found is equal to await the post model dot find by ID, and then pass in the post ID, and let's go ahead and send the response as post fetched successfully, and pass in the post found, and inside here let's throw new error one more time. We will implement error handling and pass in the actual error. So let's get back to Postman and try out. Here I'm going to duplicate this, and I will say fetch post, that is single post, and it's going to be get method, and I want to fetch this particular post called awesome course. So here I'm going to pass in the ID of the post, and let's see, and we've got an object, which means a single post. So now it's time for us to get back to the front end and then make a request to fetch our post, and then we will go ahead and update. All right, let's continue in the next video.